My name is Shejini. I'm so happy to be with you today on this episode of Adult Sunday School. Our lesson today is titled Concerning Marriage from the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 1 right down to 16. This book was written by Apostle Paul, this chapter, in response to a letter from the church of Corinth with regards to the issue of marriage. And so Paul wrote this letter to provide response with regards to principles of marriage. So when you look at the first and the second verses of chapter 7, he states one of the principles, that marriage is between one man and one woman. He goes ahead to explain that the man has authority over his wife's body and the wife has authority over her husband's body, which means that for no instance a spouse is supposed to deprive one another from their sexual needs. And he goes ahead to explain the conditions in which both spouses can abstain from sex. That is on condition that both of them agree and that they're praying together. And if this has to happen, it shouldn't be for long, because it can invite the devil into their union. So if you are to abstain from sex, it shouldn't be for long. He also talks about the principle of divorce. He says that God hates divorce. And if it happens that a partner divorces, the other partner is supposed to remain unmarried until the other partner dies. Now, he also mentions the principle of believers getting married to unbelievers. That is, if you are a believer and you repented while you didn't know and you're married to an unbeliever, you shouldn't divorce that unbeliever, especially if the unbeliever is willing to stay in the marriage. Now, if at all the unbelieving partner is not willing to stay in the marriage, then they are free to leave. And he gives several reasons why he states these principles. And so as you read the entire book, he also talks about the principle of celibacy, that some people have the gift of being single and some people have the gift of marriage. But if you do not have the gift of celibacy and you are burning with sexual desires, you're better off getting married than staying unmarried. So this lesson is very important, especially at this moment in time when we are all undergoing a global crisis, that is COVID-19. Many families have gone bankrupt because some parents have lost their jobs, some people have been laid off, we have huge salary cuts in many companies, and so many families are at the brink of breaking up. And so God is calling us at this point in time to respect the institution of marriage and to respect the vows of marriage and to stand firm despite the challenges that we might face. This lesson appeals more to married people, but if you are a youth, it is also important because you're preparing yourself for the institution of marriage. Thank you very much for listening. I am going to provide a lesson guide that you can follow through and facilitate the lesson with your group during morning devotions as a means of helping you achieve this goal of Sunday School. Once more, my name is Shejini. Stay safe, stay blessed. Thank you very much.